Hi, Josh. Really happy to be here with you today. I'm Steve Beagelman, everyone, the CEO of SMB Franchise Advisors. We're a franchise consulting firm that helps people franchise and grow their business. I've been in the franchise industry now for over 35 years, helping entrepreneurs fulfill their dreams through the franchise model. Franchising is an excellent way for you to expand your business to the next level. Have you ever dreamed of taking your business from one location or one territory and growing it to other markets across the country? Well, if you have, then franchising potentially could be a model for you to help grow your business. And I'm going to talk to you today with Josh a little bit about how you may be able to fulfill that dream.
Awesome, Steve. I'm super excited to be here with you today and kind of break down all things franchising with you. I know for a lot of people, you're not in the franchising industry. You see McDonald's, Subway, Taco Bell. You kind of hear the word franchising thrown out there, but what exactly is franchising for someone that's not in the industry? They've heard these words tossed out there, but they're trying to figure out what exactly is franchising.
Yeah, Josh. Franchising really is a way to grow your business and expand it to other markets across the country. It could be regionally, it could be nationally, it could be internationally, but it's a way of taking your product or services and expanding it to the masses, right? So you may have a great home improvement business that you're servicing locally in a community. You may have a great pizza shop. You may have a great childcare center. But the question is, how do you expand, right? And sometimes it's great to open a second location or a second territory or expand into another market. And that's awesome. But at some point, you get to the situation where you can't do it anymore yourself. And that's really where franchising comes in. It allows you to expand your product and services to other markets across regionally, nationally, and internationally by having other people operate your proven business model in their communities, and then they pay you fees for doing that. Franchise fees, royalties, and other fees associated.
Wow, that's really interesting. I appreciate you kind of breaking that down. And for a lot of people kind of being in the industry, business model, community, where do you kind of classify franchising? Is it an industry? Is it a community? Is it a business model? What exactly is it? Can you help us kind of break down that argument in the franchising industry, community, whatever it may be?
I'd probably say it's all of the above. Yeah. Franchising is a great community. It really is. But people don't realize, there's over 3,000 different franchise brands across the country. Everybody sees brands like McDonald's and 7-Eleven and Taco Bell and Pizza Hut, all these brands that are national, right? But there are small little franchise brands that you may never have heard of that have 300, 500, and 700 locations. They didn't start out that way, but they grew through the franchise model. So franchising is a community. It is its own industry, okay? We kind of have the International Franchise Association. That's kind of like the body that kind of helps franchising, whether it's lobbying, rules and regulations and systems and processes. And then you have the big franchisors, McDonald's, Subway, that has over 40,000 locations, that kind of helps set the framework for a lot of what franchising does. And then you have the small mom and pops who just want to see their brand expand outside of their mark with one location that grows to 5 or 10 or 15 or 20. So it really is all of the above of what you kind of talked about when you talk about franchising as a business model.
Wow, that's fascinating. I love how you can kind of break it down from the McDonald's, the 7-Elevens, back to the mom and pops. And there really is such a wide range in the franchising industry. And one of your earlier comments is that when you're looking to franchising your business, it's something where you're kind of at a point where you can't do it yourself. So in franchising, it sounds like there's multiple players involved, if you will. Could you help us break down, I've heard the words franchisor, franchisee, Zor, Z. The lingo can be a little bit confusing, especially for an outsider perspective. what are kind of the different partners, relationships in the franchise industry, community? Help us break that down, Steve.
Yeah, it can be very confusing for somebody who's not in the franchise industry. You're absolutely right. So the franchisor is the person who expands their business and grows it throughout the community, supporting franchisees, training the franchisees. It's the franchisor's responsibility to protect the integrity of the brand, to set up the systems, the processes, the training, and creates the brand, right? The franchisee is the person that actually purchases the franchise and operates the business locally in their community or communities. Sometimes franchisees have more than one location. Sometimes they get the 3 or 5 or 10 or even 50 or 100. Okay, depends on the franchisee and their capabilities. So the franchisee, or what they refer to as a Z, or is the person who operates the business, and the franchisor, or what you refer to as the ZOR, is the person who is responsible for the integrity of the brand, the standards, the systems, the processes, those things. So those are kind of the differences there.
That's awesome, Steve. I appreciate you breaking down the Z and the ZOR relationship. Can you tell us how important is that relationship? You have a franchisor who probably invested, maybe their whole life into a business. The founders, they have a huge, their heart and soul is involved in the business. And now they're using other people as franchisees to take over that, the likeness to the brand, the images, to grow that business in their local market. How does, a franchisor go about building trust in those franchisees, and how does that relationship all work?
Yeah, especially in the beginning for a franchisor who's starting out, and that's what our company does. We've helped over 500 brands expand through the franchise model by helping people, entrepreneurs, fulfill their dream by franchising their business. But when they're starting out, they're bringing on those first few franchisees. It's really, really important that you find the right franchisees that believe in the culture, the vision, the mission, the core values of the company, because they're going to be your brand ambassadors for you locally in their communities. And you need them to be successful. There's an interdependent relationship, Josh, between the franchisor and the franchisee, or ZOR and Z, right? As you refer to them, right? And there's like circles. And then the circles overlap because we're actually have the same common goals, right? We want to see the system grow. Well, the system only grows if the franchisees are successful. The system only grows if the franchisor has great systems and processes and procedures for the franchisee to follow. So these are really, really important attributes that a franchisor has when they're franchising their concept.
Oh, that's awesome, Steven. With the franchisee and the franchisor relationship, you kind of mentioned like the circles and like the crossing of paths. Do you ever see franchisees become franchisors, or vice versa, where a franchisor also owns franchises himself?
Yeah, sometimes you'll see some franchisors. A lot of franchisors will have a corporate location or multiple corporate locations. Some franchisors have a strategy that they're going to do, 80% franchise and 20% corporate, 90-10. Some do all franchise. I mean, every franchisor is different. They're not all created equal. And then sometimes they do some joint ventures with some franchisees. Sometimes it's family members. There's lots of different ways you can see it, it's structured. Every once in a while, you will see very successful franchisees acquire a franchisor. That does happen sometimes. Sometimes the franchisees are so passionate about the business, and sometimes people who get into the franchising business to franchise their business after a period of time just say, okay, I'm done. But boy, these franchisees are so strong and they love our brand and they're such great brand ambassadors. I'm going to sell my brand to them. And that does happen. Not a lot, but it definitely does happen too.
That's awesome, Steven. One of your earlier comments, kind of going back to the culture of the franchise and looking at that, as the topic of the video of what is franchising and helping people break down the industry. A lot of times when people are looking at a job opportunity or looking at the next stage of that career, it often comes down to, the culture and the opportunity for growth. And you alluded a little bit to the culture in franchising. Can you speak a little bit about kind of the opportunity for growth and the culture in franchising?
Yeah, I think culture is really important in any brand, and it's set by the franchisor, right? So the franchisor needs to set the tone, the culture, as I had mentioned earlier, the brand, the vision, mission, core values, all those things are set by the franchisor. And then you need to make sure that your franchisees fit that culture. If they don't, it's better off to say it's just not the right fit. I'd rather the franchisor say that, and I'd rather the franchisee decide that, or the potential franchisee, as they're evaluating a franchise concept. You might realize that it's just not the right culture fit. When you go and you do your due diligence on the brand, you get excited about a concept, whether it's a sub shop, a handyman service, a painting franchise, whatever it might be, okay? And you get excited about it, then you do your due diligence and you realize, you know what? The culture fit just isn't there. As I got to meet the senior executives of the team or the operations team or the senior management, they just don't fit what I stand for, then don't move forward. Go look at another concept. As I mentioned, there's over 3,000 franchise brands out in the United States. There's a lot of opportunities. People don't realize how many brands are franchises. You drive up and down the street and you turn your head and there's franchises on both sides of the street all the time. Sometimes you don't even realize something's a franchise, and it really is. So there are lots of opportunities. I always tell people, do something you get excited about, you're passionate about. I love what I do. I've been doing this for 35 years. I write for Forbes.com on franchising all the time. So for me, franchising is a passion. I love it. I love to meet entrepreneurs every day who are either starting their own business to franchise or becoming franchisees to join some of those 3,000 franchise brands across the country.
No, that's awesome, Steven. Yeah, it's so funny just driving into Miami this morning. Like, franchising is everywhere you look. I just saw like in Ellen, it's like Kumon, Massage Envy. Let's see. Then there were like 3 or 4 other franchises, like all right back to back. And then behind that's another shopping outlet with another 10, 15 dozen franchises. Like, it's just so funny. And once you start to get involved more in the industry, you start to see it more and more. And I think the statistic I heard is that 1 in 8 businesses now is a franchise business. And I can't even imagine what to see that number continue to evolve over the years. So I think that's just really fascinating. And Steve, as just kind of a way to wrap up this video, as someone considering franchising, maybe from that outsider perspective, what do you tell someone that's potentially thinking about taking those next steps in the world of franchising?
Yeah, I mean, I tell people, Josh, that follow your passion, right? There are so many opportunities out there. Franchising is a great way to open a business, right? If you want to become a franchisee and not create something from scratch, follow a proven business model, join a system that has other people involved that you can talk to, not be on an island on your own and open your own business that you never really did before. I mean, we have a concept that's a luxury pet hotel. It's a multi-million-dollar Ritz-Carlton hotel for dogs. Well, a lot of people love dogs. I love dogs. I have a golden doodle. I love dogs, but I wouldn't know how to open a dog hotel. Okay, so they have a proven business model, and people join that system to follow the proven business model. Okay, and that makes sense. So if you have a passion for pets, that may be a good business to get involved in. If you have a passion for fitness, maybe join a fitness franchise, right? So follow what your passion is, and then look into businesses in that category. I mean, there's probably over 100 senior care franchises out there. There's a lot of brands that you can choose from. And some are startup franchise brands with only 1, 2, 3 franchisees. And then others have hundreds or thousands. And some brands may be sold out in your territory. That's okay. Then go look at another brand. There's lots of different opportunities. But, becoming a franchisee allows you to follow that proven system and have somebody else to talk to. And sometimes it's lots of people to talk to if you're in a bigger franchise.
No, this is awesome, Steve. I think just this video is going to leave a lot of cliffhangers for the viewers. I think there's a lot of future topics between, candidates figuring out what the right franchise is for them, an emerging brand, a more well-established brand, an actual business looking to get into franchising, and what those next steps are. So if anyone found value in this video, you think someone else will find value in this video, the website's going to be in the bio. Definitely hit the notification bell, like, share, comment, subscribe, help out the algorithm. And, we're going to continue to be pushing content out for all of you guys, just educating people and providing value on the world of franchising. And I think, as Steve alluded to, no one's here to sell you anything in the world of franchising. It really is a community of people that are simply here to just educate people on the various opportunities, on the culture, the growth opportunities. And at the end of the day, it may not be for you. Entrepreneurship is definitely not for everyone, but we're here to help educate you, talk to you guys about franchising. And, thank you everyone for tuning into the video today. Like I said, like, share, comment, subscribe, and have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Thanks, Josh. Have a great day, everybody.